Is he on? Yeah, now we got you. I'm sorry. Yeah, Don King.
Opie and Anthony.
Hi.
A weekday, 6 a.m. and keeps going on and on and on and on.
Oh, believe me.
Oh,
we go all the way until about 11, sometimes noon. We don't care.
Let me tell you something. We could use a promoter like Don King as far as this radio show goes.
Oh, yeah.
We need some promotion, my friend.
Well, you got a great radio show. You know, you yesterday, today, and tomorrow, you give the people the information that they need to know. When you need to know something, call Opie and Anthony. They will give it to you like it is.
Now, you got a fight coming up at the Garden.
Faith, hope, and glory. Yes, it is a fight that was really made by a heavenly instance because it fell apart. That champion of the world, he got sick. We got a back injury. You know, the Russians do get a lot of back injuries. And we couldn't fight. So then WBC in its infinite wisdom appointed Samuel Peter, the Nightmare from Nigeria, as his champion, and he's defending his crown at Madison Square Garden against Jamil McClain Saturday, October the 6th. So it's truly a faith fight because Jamil is getting his fourth opportunity to fight for the heavyweight championship.
I think I got an email from the Nigerian Nightmare. Said if I send my bank account number, they're going to wire $10 million over to me.
They're the best in the world.
I love those Nigerians.
Yes, but you never can get beat unless you have larceny. You got to want something for nothing, and there is no free lunch. But they do prey on those who are looking for the pie in the sky.
Yeah.
When they die. But I want something sound on the ground while I'm around. Opie and Anthony, y'all, 92.3 Rock. 92.3 Rock.
You're all decked out now. You got your red, white, and blue. Would you get the bedazzler out there and put the studs on there?
Well, you got to look. The first thing you got to look and support our troops. That's the one thing that I do every time I go on this show.
Sure.
We must support our troops. We love them. They're the vanguard of our nation. The men and women wearing that uniform is the embodiment of America, and we can't forget that. So, in so doing, we want to be able to celebrate this great nation as the greatest nation in the world called America, and I say only in America. And only because we got such a great military. And I'm looking forward to seeing them, supporting them, and wishing them well because they put themselves in harm's way for the benefit of Opie and Anthony and I in a free society to continue to bring you the best in information, news, music, everything that's happening now. Opie and Anthony has it for you.
Don, if the troops are over there just for this show, please come home immediately because I think it'll be great once Europe, once somebody gets a little rambunctious over there, probably the Germans, and just starts a problem again, and people go, "Oh, help us, America! Please help us!" They're all high and mighty with their euro over there now, feeling all good about themselves, not realizing what this great country did so that they could do what they're doing now. Badmouth us.
Well, Anthony, I have to agree with you on that point because...
Of course, Don.
If you were in Paris and you said, parlez-vous français, they say, expectancy Deutsch. If the Doughboys hadn't to win over there.
Exactly.
And changed that. I mean, they seem to have forgotten that, but I think Nicolas Sarkozy is a good friend. He's going to change it back to what it was. Chirac was there, but he was kind of anti.
Jacques.
Yeah,
Jacques.
You know what I mean? So, but we don't do that.
Strap.
Yeah, I'm doing a show in Paris on November the 10th with Jean-Marc Momac and David Hay from the UK. So it's going to be a great thing over there. But with Nicolas Sarkozy, that'll be the first on his regime. He's a good friend of the mayor of Levallois, who is Balkany. When you say France, you say Balkany. So it's a thing that we have a great relationship now. And they're going to try to change the view.
You're a world traveler.
Oh, absolutely.
And what are you like? Sort of, you're almost like an ambassador.
Without portfolio, I am ambassador for this great nation called America. And as you were saying earlier, many people don't realize, or appreciate what America truly does. You know what I mean? So they look at us as Yankee imperialists. You know what I mean? They look at us as going to be the bully, but they got to understand we're fighting for the freedom that they enjoy, and democracy is very different. And around the world, people wish for what we have. You know what I mean? We're just about die for it. We take it for granted, so we shouldn't do that anymore.
And it's easy for you to fly to another country country and meet somebody because all you got to do is stick your head out the plane window to do your hair.
Anthony.
Oh, you did a hair joke.
Oh, I had to do a Don King hair joke.
Yes.
That's
Why?
Yes.
Because he's got the most recognizable hairdo.
Oh, Don, I apologize for that.
Oh, Opie, let him roll with it.
I had to,
Yes,
dude.
you do it,
And
Anthony.
punt. And punt. What do I know?
Don's amazing. When We Were Kings, I think, is the greatest documentary I've ever seen. And to take what you did was to take money and go to Ali, or you went to Foreman, and you got both signatures, and then you went to a dictator and got him to put the money up. I mean, how? None of those things.
The rumble in the jungle?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, the rumble in the jungle. That was it.
74 in Zaire, right?
This is a fight that I put together. I got one that's the ilk of that is coming up in January here in New York at Madison Square Garden also, and that's Roy Jones Jr. and Tito Trinidad. Viva Puerto Rico. And that's going to be one of the kind of fights that where the fighters want to fight the two icons. They don't need it, either one. But they decided for the public's sake they didn't meet when they was at the peak of their career. But now that they're icon, tried, true, tested, and established fighters, legendary in nature, they're going to meet each other here in a pound-for-pound fight, that will be at 170 pounds at a catch weight. And it's just going to be a tremendous evening of boxing because I liken it to that Rumble in the Jungle with Muhammad Ali and George Foreman.
Oh, he's bringing it back around. I guess
so it's really coming right back.
went
after
off-road
30-some
on us
years.
there.
Does it annoy you when Foreman complains? Because Foreman complains about the ropes. Foreman says that the ropes were made loose for Ali to kind of go back. And that's something he said in his book. He complained a little. Did you respond to that and just say it was just...
Well, I don't know. All I know is that the rope-a-dope was created then. And Foreman punched himself out, whether the ropes was out, in, or whatever. He was swinging, and he's swinging at Muhammad Ali. And then when he got tired, Muhammad Ali took advantage of that situation. But I love George Foreman. George Foreman is one of the greatest guys in the world. He used to be an iconoclastic, radical type of individual. Now he's just a big, sweet, jolly brown giant,
Oh, yeah.
Selling his grills.
We met him with those.
Selling his grills.
He's made a fortune with those grills.
Oh,
and he came up to the studio one day, and I shook his hand, and it was like somebody took a London broil and just smacked it into my hand. That guy's got a set of mitts on him.
Oh, he does. He's a tremendous guy. This guy will always stand up with me. He signed 7 blank sheets of paper. I don't recommend that to anyone, but George Foreman did it with me. And he had a lawyer named Steve Baumser, and we went to San Francisco and filled in all the papers on those signatures. You know what I mean? And we called him up and read it to him, and he lived up to every bit of it. So George Foreman, I applaud you. You're a man's man. You're a great
Stand-up guy.
Great American. George Foreman.
Don, who's the greatest fighter of all time?
Well, I'd have to say in my time would be, I didn't have him, but he was great, Sugar Ray Robinson. But for me, in the time that I was involved in, it would be Muhammad Ali. Muhammad Ali was just a fantastic individual. He tried to emulate and imitate Ray Robinson, as a heavyweight, and Ray was a middleweight. So Ali was one of the fastest guys out there with the agility, the dexterity, the lateral movement, the capability of punching going forward or backward. I coined a phrase for him, every knee must bend, every head must bow, every tongue must confess, thou art the greatest of all times, Muhammad Ali.
And another question about that. Why does the world love Muhammad Ali?
Well, he wasn't always loved. He was always scorned, at first, because...
Well, yeah, that's what I'm getting at. He turned all that around, and it's nothing but love wherever he goes now.
That's the truth. But, basically people stand up, I think as Abraham Lincoln said, one, if you're right, is a majority. And he was right, and so he stood there, so he had to take the abuse, the misuse. But as he continued to stand firm, as Henry David Thoreau would say, he came out of it. Now everybody loves him, and then he carries the torch. But he stood for something. If you don't stand for something, you don't live for nothing. You got to stand for something, Opie. That's why it makes you so dynamic on this show. You and Anthony are just, incomparable. And it makes me feel good to be sitting in your presence.
Yeah, promote us again. Come on, Don.
Man, we need a promotion. Let's go. We want everybody. Opie and Anthony will be at the Garden on Saturday night, so you'll have to come on down.
Hey,
it's going to be a great fight. We got 6 or 7 countries. Now, think about this. This is a fight of faith, hope, and glory. You got Andrew Galata. He's coming in from Poland.
Excuse me, the powerful Pole. You got to use the nicknames there, Don. I got to help you out here.
Powerful
help me, Opie.
The powerful Pole, Galata.
He's taking on the Irish kid. I was at the Irish pub yesterday. It was just so fabulous. They were all singing songs. You know, the Irish like to sing songs and have the little cups.
You have a little nip.
Yeah, every now and then.
Every now and again.
Every now and then. You know what I mean? And it was just so great. And we had a beef pie, and it was unbelievable. It was the owner's mother's recipe. It was a tremendous, deliciously. Oh, I think about it now with real gusto. You know what I mean? And then chicken pot pies and all the things they were serving them. It was really great. Yes, and now I'm back, you know.
All right.
But anyway, they were Irish, and Kevin McBride, the last man to beat Tyson.
He's called the Tyson Conqueror. Nickname's
the Tyson Conqueror, yes. You know, and he was there, so we got Ireland. And then we got Australia with Kelly Meehan, the Thunder from Down Under. You know, he's taking on Darrell Williams, the Colorado kid. You know what I mean? So you got all of these countries going in there, and from Australia, Ireland, a Nigerian nightmare with.
And where's the Colorado kid from?
Colorado.
All right, thanks.
That would be great. If he was the Nigerian, the Colorado kid. Yeah.
And we need everybody to come out there because this is a real United Nations type of card. The aggregate of all of this is what we're trying to do is emulate the United Nations and give them something that they can do with frivolity and enjoy and entertainment and excitement.
The United Nations should go in there and just start beating the crap out of each other. Probably get more done.
I'm inviting the whole Security Council to come down and be our guest because since they fight so well in the UN, I think there would be an example right there in Madison Square Garden. So the entire Security Council is invited to the fight here at Madison Square Garden while they're in session here at New York at the UN.
Don, what do you think? I have a question about Mike Tyson because it's like, you know, there was something about Tyson. It's like at one point he grabbed people in a way like I think in a way Ali did, where you just thought this guy could be the greatest you've ever seen. I don't know how you guys on the inside saw him, but the public has this fascination with him that started before it became a train wreck, when he was like, you know, Kid Dynamite, when he was just destroying everybody. What is it about Tyson that made people? Because I mean, I got caught up in it too, and I didn't even know why I love this guy so much.
Well, I got caught up in it. I'm still in it. I love Mike Tyson. I think Mike Tyson was one of the throwbacks to what that form of manhood and fighting that you could emulate, imitate, or you could get in there and when you're shaving, you know what I mean, instead of saying take it off, take it all off, you would say would think that I'll knock him out like Tyson did. He was a knockout artist, so he had an infectious smile, and he could get people there. And he big and strong as he was, and he talking to a baby boy. You know what I mean? So it was just tremendous. So he was a great gladiator. You know, he just listened to people talking to him, whispering in his ears what made him aberrate from the norm, and this is what happened to him. But you know, I have nothing but love for Mike Tyson, a lot of respect. I'm sorry that he did himself in like he did, because it was what they call immolation, you know what I mean? And so it was a thing that we have to deal with. But hey, I wish him well, whatever he does. But boy, was he a terrific fighter. He had people coming from everywhere to see just what you're talking about, the excitement of that big punch. That's what you're going to see Saturday night at the Garden. The big punch is going to be prevalent.
Faith, hope, and glory, right?
Faith, hope, and glory.
Saturday at Madison Square Garden.
Yeah, everybody. We want everybody in New York to come on down. This is truly a melting pot of this great United States.
Boxing back at the Garden.
As you know, we're talking about fighters here. Oscar De La Hoya. Did you see the pictures?
He's just smiling.
We just shut up Don King.
Wow. That never happened.
We just figured out how to.
I've never seen you speechless in my life.
Oh, Anthony. You know what I mean? And I'm just thinking about what a great show we're going to have. And to thank Jim Dolan for that, because so many people to thank on this show. We couldn't have done it without Jim Dolan giving us a site.
Sure.
Or a guy named Ken Hirschman at Showtime. He's one of the top executives in the world. He's the head of a boxing over there in their program for Matt Blank. He's a tremendous guy. He's ingenious in his visionary powers to be able to bring the best to Showtime, you know what I mean, and let everybody know what it is. What time is it? Showtime.
And he would never wear a bikini.
No. He's a visionary television executive, and Les Moonves, you should be very proud of him.
Hey, Don, if it had been De La Hoya, would they have called it the Rumble in Lane Bryant?
Well, you know, I was just thinking, you know, that we got this great card with Santos. Viva Puerto Rico. You got Daniel Santos is taking on Jose Rivera.
He's bobbing and weaving.
You know, it's really great. All the Puerto Ricans in New York, we love you. Tito Trinidad will be fighting here on January 19th. But right now, Viva Puerto Rico is Daniel Santos and
Oscar was
Jose
on the bill,
Rivera.
Yeah. If Oscar was on the bill, you'd have to change the name to Faith, Hope, and what is he wearing?
Well, back at that time,
Faith, Hope, and Gloria.
Faith, Hope, and Glory Hole.
Oh, Jesus.
Yes, well, you know, it's really great.
Don's going to run through everybody and the people that clean up at the garden. You got to give them a hand. They clean up the...
Yes. Oh, you're right, Anthony, because, you know, he's telling you right, you know, all those enclosed environs that are listening to Opie and Anthony this morning, he is telling you right, come on down to the garden on October the 6th on Saturday, because we need you. We want you to be there in mass to demonstrate to the world that all around the world, New York is the greatest city in the world because they named it twice. It's so good. New York, New York. And so to Mayor Bloomberg, we want you there. And we want to be able to thank everyone to help us to make this thing possible. This fight is not made by me alone. This one is made by Ken Hershey of Showtime.
We're losing
Jim Dolan of Madison Square Garden.
Isaiah Thomas.
And yes, Isaiah, a basketball player. Oh, it's so great. Throw the ball through the hoop, Isaiah. I'm telling you, it's really wonderful. Opie and Anthony, 92.3 K-Rock.
Thank you so much.
Is there anybody, this is an odd question.
Love being promoted.
That's Jim Norton. No, that's Jim Norton. Will you please give Jim Norton the floor?
Jim Norton, please.
The fact that he remembered my name, nobody ever remembers my name. That makes me very happy that Don King knows my name.
Absolutely. Famous. What's in the name? That what we call a rose band in the name was Smell It Sweet. Yes, remember the name.
The Immortal
name
Bard.
Is the most important. Jim Norton, y'all.
Was there anybody you had to deal with? I'm going to guess it might have been Mobutu. Was there anybody you had to deal with that really made you nervous? I mean, you have dealt with a lot of very interesting individuals being in the game you're in. And you know, I mean, you went to Zaire.
Some shady characters.
I mean, you made that happen in Zaire. I mean, with a lot of their money. I mean, was he like the most frightening guy you ever dealt with?
No, he's on the contrary. He was very sophisticated. You know, this guy had been educated, I guess, up there in Oxford or Cambridge or somewhere in England, and he come out of the bush. You know what I mean? But he was a very talented young man, and he had great oratory capabilities, and he was a delight because he loved Muhammad Ali, and he wanted to have this done. But a guy named Manduga Bula is the one who really was the interceder between us, and he would work with us and tell us how to work with Mobutu Sese Seko. His name was Joseph Desiree Mobutu, and it was from the Belgian Congo, so he wanted to take his country back, crying out for freedom just like we do or everyone else is. And so he had to organize all of these Nigerians, Zairians or whatever they are. So he had to be able to talk to them and get them together, and he did. Then he went back to the native Joseph. He dropped the name of Joseph Desiree Mobutu and took on Mobutu Sese Seko. You know what I mean? So then everybody had to do the indigenous names and to speak their language. He gave them a sense of pride and dignity that was hitherto not done over there.
Is it true that he actually, this story on When We Were Kings, that he rounded up all the criminals to make Zaire safe and was like when it was randomly having prisoners killed to let you know that you're connected? I mean, was that true, or is that just the stuff of...
Well, I don't know, but he did, you know, we had a crime drop in, what they call a crime rate.
Yeah.
It dropped precipitously.
Okay, well.
You know what I mean? So everybody was good, man. Everybody was safe, you know what I mean? Because he wanted the news to go out that Zaire was it, you know what I mean? And
that's a great movie.
And we had a movie, we had a reporter, his name was Chimpupu Wa Chimpupu, and he would do all kind of stuff, man. You know what I mean?
Chimpupu Wa Chimpupu.
He would, you know, censor the press. He would send guys. He sent them over to Iceland somewhere on the way coming into to Zaire. But he was a good guy, you know what I mean? But he just didn't understand that you don't censor, you know, you do things straight out and report the news. But just, again, it shows the example of how great America is.
Right on.
Support our troops. Support our
You've
troops.
been with some interesting people.
You had people accuse you of some very unsavory things in boxing.
Absolutely.
And I could tell just by listening to you and watching you, you never are going to out-talk Don King on a point. It's just not going to happen. You're amazing. but they're always accusing you of stealing from boxers and hurting boxers. And what is your typical response to that?
Well, you know what? They got to always understand that you have to do like Jesus, and he says, "He without sin, let him cast the first stone. Judge not, yet you be judged." You know what I mean. So in Matthew 7:12 it says, "Do unto others as you would have them to do unto you." Whenever you're good at whatever you do, you're always going to be accused. The higher you go up, those who will stand on the line and do nothing, they don't want to get into the game. They don't want to get into the chance of losing to go against the chance of winning. They don't want to take risks. That's what I'm trying to say. So if you take risks and you succeed, then you're going to have people that's going to be jealous, you know what I mean? And I think it was Shakespeare that said, trifles light as air are to the jealous confirmation as strong as holy writ. You know what I mean? So you got to understand that whatever they say, I'm still standing. You know what I mean? Now you got to understand. That's the bottom line, Anthony and Opie. Listen, the CIA, the IRS, Interpol, you know what I mean, the FBI, the police departments, do you know with all the accusations that they have made against me, the allegations that they have made against me, that if any of them were true, I wouldn't be sitting here on 92.3.
Oh, God, here we go.
You know what I mean? I'd be busting rocks in that thing there. So you got to take it like it is. You can't have it. You got to take the bitter with the sweet. So, I love the life I live, and I live the life I love. You got to say what you mean and mean what you say.
The paths of the righteous man are bisect on all sides.
Hallelujah. So you haven't seen the Oscar De La Hoya pictures, and you've never fixed a fight.
Never.
That's what you're saying today, right?
I can't say that I haven't seen some photographs.
All right.
Because Oscar's always been fighting for me.
Yeah.
But fix the fight, never.
All right.
You know what I mean? Because you don't get no chance on that at all. You know what I mean? They would love to catch me doing anything. I'm accused of the Johnstown flood, the World War II, you know what I mean, the Lindbergh kidnapping, you know what I mean, the Brinks job, whatever it is that they can find, they will label it on me. So I have a Pope-like quality of absolvement.
Now, years ago, though, you were accused, I even think convicted of manslaughter.
Yes, I was. You know what I mean? Unfortunately, it was the frustrations of the ghetto expressing themselves, and I happened to get the misfortune of being instrumental in the fatality of a fellow human being. I think that is something I've suffered deep contrition for, but and to expiate for your sins, you got to keep giving. You got to keep working. If you have faith, you can cast your bread upon the water and you'll get back cash.
Does that still bother you? Like as a person?
Faith, you get back soggy bread.
On a daily basis, though, does that bother you?
It doesn't bother me as much as, once you recognize and appreciate the fact that, that you're not God and, you could be God-like in dealing with people, you got to be able to deal with what is real, and then you got to justify it in an irrational, rational, whichever way you want to put it, when you didn't start it or whatever it is. But it's a thought, Anthony. You know what I mean? You can never just really wash it away. You got to go out and try to do good for others. You know what I mean? But contributing and giving,
make up for it in other ways.
Hey, how did it? But to get serious for a second, how did it feel to kill a man?
Well, you know what? It's not a feeling of what you're going to do for a kill. It's just like when you say on Iwo Jima, how would you tell the guys over there with Patan, Corregidor? You know what I mean? When you find people that are fighting, it's the way that you look at life and what you is, because it's three words: eros, philia, and agape. That's the Greek words. Eros is an affectionate love. Philia is like a brotherly love, you know what I mean? A family love, whatever. And agape is the love of the human personality. I may love you because you're a human being, but I may not like your ways. Your ways may be disdain. It may be something that would be not appropriate, you know what I mean? But you still got to be respected for being a human personality. And so I think that I love all the people, you know what I mean? And it's what John Donne said many years ago, that no man's an island entire to himself. Every man is a member of the continent and a part of the main. So therefore, do not send for whom the bell tolls. The bell tolls for thee. You know what I mean? Yes, you know what I mean? So I got to believe in John. He said, every man's death diminishes me.
So I'm
involved with mankind.
So it felt good.
You were 13 years old.
Opie, baby! Yeah, Opie, go, Jim, go.
Damn.
This is, and I
don't want to be your third kill. We're all right, right?
Yeah, you're all right, man.
Well,
you're all right.
The first time.
Oh, ye of little faith, get thee behind me, Satan.
A guy tried to rob one of your places, and it was ruled a justifiable homicide.
Yeah.
You were defending
Yes.
your place of business.
Yes.
And I think that's one thing, is the reputation has gotten out Don King doesn't play.
Yeah.
Don't
screw around with Don King.
Just deal with him in a certain way, and you'll be fine. Don't. Well, it could get ugly.
Well, you got to think about John Paul Jones, and I think about him quite often. When this John Paul Jones' ship was sinking and the water was over the portholes, and the British commander yelled out to John Paul Jones, "Do you surrender? Do you surrender?" And John Paul Jones retorted, "I have not yet begun to fight." You know what I mean? So you got to keep fighting for this great nation called America, and that's what I do. You know what I mean? Because this is the greatest country in the world, regardless of the many iniquities and injustices that we have to suffer, and there are many. You know what I mean? But the fact of the matter is, you must challenge America to rise up to what it could be: one land, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, endowed by their Creator with certain inalienable rights, among these which are life, liberty, and happiness. Well, the thief got to live too. You got to understand too. You know what I mean? Not just according to what he's stealing for. Is he stealing to feed his family?
Right.
Or is he just stealing to take Opie's money? You know what I mean? It's a different thing. Now, Opie has so much, he should share it.
I couldn't agree more.
Yes.
All right, that's what we've been saying for years, Don.
Madison Square Garden, October 6th.
Yeah, the big plug. We got to take a break
Saturday
here.
Night.
Let's hear the great Don King.
But don't touch that dial, because we'll be right back. 92.3 K-Rock. And with Opie and Anthony. But right now, the Garden is in command. Jim Dolan is calling on you. Don King is calling you. Ken Hirschman is calling on you. And America, Mayor Bloomberg, and everyone else, we are saying this is the greatest city in the world. Let's demonstrate that to friend and foe alike around the world, so when the cameras hit you, everybody will be seen, and everybody is important. We all are stars. So let's be a star at faith, hope, and glory.
October 6th, this Saturday at Madison Square.
Very cool.
And Don, take us to break by doing a promo for the Opie and Anthony show and the great Jim Norton.
Please.
Oh, yes. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we're about to take a break now at Opie and Anthony and Jim Norton. That's our comic. He's to keep you smiling. And we want you to be right there when we come back. So don't touch that dial. We'll be right back.
This is Aaron Sheik, World Wrestling Federation, 3-time champion, All-American AAU champion. Pleasure for me to the Anthony and Opie bring me here to New York to I say hello to all my wrestling fans, and everybody know I'm the real Middle Eastern, come to the greatest wrestling country and most famous city in the world, Manhattan, Madison Square Garden. I come 3 times champion. I want to say hello to all my wrestling fans, especially all American and also my Iranian friend. خدمت همه شنوندگان ایرانی عزیز سلام عرض میکنم. همه دنیا آرون شیخ خسرو وزیری رو میشناسن. Pleasure for me to I come back here again one more time to I talk to the Opie and Anthony, and pleasure for me always.
Yeah, you're checking out the Opie and Anthony show. We want to play What Did We Learn on the Opie and Anthony show today? If you got one. Opie, Anthony, and Jimmy, 6 of the biggest balls in history. Kevin from Connecticut. Wait, did you just ask Don King how it felt to kill a man? And did he answer you?
We're going to have to go through the tapes and see what he said.
We're going to have to replay that maybe tomorrow or something.
Decipher it.
And figure out what questions he actually answered during that interview.
Yeah.
He's an amazing guy, man. And I'm going to give the fight another plug. It's this Saturday, October 6th at Madison Square Garden. Samuel Peter against Jameel McCline. And, man, King always puts on amazing fights.
Yeah.
He has a history of putting on great fights.
That. He was just a great guest.
I like how he summed it up by saying, all that stuff, and he goes, hey, I'm still standing.
Yeah.
So, regardless of what people accuse him of, what he has done.
That guy could take a punch right there.
Yeah, that guy's been... And true, that like the FBI, the CIA, I don't doubt.
And he was bragging about it. He goes, look, they all looked into me.
They're trying to get him. They're trying to nail him, and he's still standing, so...
My favorite part of the interview is when we asked him about the Oscar de la Hoya pictures, and he just sat there in silence.
He was speechless for a couple of seconds. Yes.
I have an update because I just walked Mr. King to his car.
Yeah.
And his comment about you guys, he goes, you got to keep it real with them because they bring it.
All right.
Yeah.
I like how you put the inflection on that, too, Kenny.
Exactly.
I'm down with that.
Of course you are. Down with syndrome. That's what you are.
I would love to see, next time, I would love to have him in again. I want to see Don King talking up Kenny.
Oh.
I want to see Don King saying,
good luck.
Yeah, he probably would. And Kenny...
Speechless again, like when you asked him the Oscar de la Hoya question.
Wow, man,
he sat there.
That was fun.
He smiled, and it was the first time I ever saw he had nothing to say.
Well, I don't know what his relationship to Oscar is, if it's good or bad. So I don't know.
You know what? But I got around that because then I'm like, all right, what you're saying is you've never seen the Oscar De La Hoya pictures and you've never fixed a fight. And that's when he said, whoa, all right, hold on.
Whoa.
I may have seen some pictures, but
I never fixed a fight.
But I never fixed a fight.
He's seen him. He probably laughed his ass off.
Come on, are you kidding me?
You could tell he saw him as soon as we asked a question. He was giggling like a little girl.
He probably shipped him lingerie anonymously as a goof.
Right.
And we have Otto.
Otto. Where's George?
I left him at home. Sorry.
No, it's time
He's ditching George at home these days. That's good.
It's time to kick that punk to the curb.
I know. I'm doing a single.
Yeah, it's radio.
Yeah.
What are you playing? Otto, is it
Caroline's tonight here in New York City.
And it's an
10 o'clock.
10 o'clock.
Nice.
I have a little skit tonight at Caroline's. You can follow Don King.
212.
Horrible.
Hold on, 212-757-4100. You're doing like an interesting thing. You're hosting, and like it's kind of like your show, and you put on other comedians like Rick Shapiro.
Otto and George presents a night of stand-up, all kinds of different characters.
If it's titled that, I'm going to bite your face.
Really?
Yeah. Otto and George presents, colon. Who's on the show with you? Shapiro?
Shapiro, that Big Jake Olkerson, Johnny,
Big J.
Johnny O, and then some guy named Shuley or something like that.
Shuley, okay. Shuley's a guy that Stearns board. He's a good guy.
All right, cool. Tonight at Caroline's, 10 o'clock with Otto and George.
Yeah,
you were listening to the Don King interview.
That was a great interview.
It was fun to listen to, huh?
Yeah.
Look, we're all pumped.
Yeah.
And I was nervous, man. I'll be honest. We try to be honest with this radio show. We meet a lot of famous people.
Yeah.
For the most part, it's cool, but you're not nervous. He walked in. I'm like, I didn't know what mic to turn on all of a sudden.
He's an intimidating guy.
Yes.
You know?
Because you know who he sat with. It's like when you watch When We Were King, he, as comfortable as he was just talking to us, he was that comfortable talking to Ali and Foreman.
I know, the most famous man on the planet.
He's a guy who's not intimidated. You know what I mean? It's like, so you kind of know that you're dealing with a guy who's, what are you going to do?
Wow.
Yeah.
He's amazing.
Yeah, really interesting
Does
guy.
he manage boxes or he just promotes?
He's a promoter, man.
Really?
He's a talking machine. He can promote anything. He made me want to see that fight. And I don't know who these guys are. And I want to see the fight.
Yeah.
I want to listen to this radio show after he promoted it like that.
I know, boy, people are going to be let down.
Right.
Keep it real.
If he had heard this show before he came here today, he never would have done it.
Never would have come in here.
Destroyed his reputation. He'd talk us all up and people will listen, and it's a snooze fest. I want to see him go to Cleveland and promote that awful Maxwell show.
Oh, God.
And the man doesn't even talk in his real voice. This Maxwell, he has a funny sidekick.
And punt.
And